Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Friday's edition of REUZEL Education Live. It's Friday. The weekend is upon us. I want to welcome everybody, and I want to thank you for being here today. And today I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming Mr. George Accatato, our lead Scumbassador. Mr. George, how you doing out there today, buddy?
Hey, Curtis. Good morning. Good morning to you, or good afternoon to a lot of people as well. How you doing?
Looking good, looking good.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to REUZEL Live Friday morning, as Curtis mentioned. Thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Actually, I really don't know how many people have tuned in, but I know my mom is on right now. So, hi, Mom. Love you. So I got an action-packed hour of haircuts for you today. Actually, I have two special guests that I want to bring on right now. First of all, I've had the fortunate to be quarantined with my son, Santino, who's got the most amazing head of hair. He hasn't had a haircut since February. He's been busting my chops for months to get my haircut. I told him, wait, please, please, please wait. So he's here. And then we also have another special guest that he brought with us, Herbalicious. Come on, Herb. So, here's what. This has been an amazing week for REUZEL Education. We started off the week on Monday with Maddie Flatewood from the UK doing an amazing jelly roll. Our very own Bloody Butcher, Rob, jumped in on Tuesday and in his amazing, inspirational way, frickin' did a haircut with the mannequin upside down. So as only he could do. Wednesday, we get Steph, who does one of our newest London Calling haircuts. So I'm like, man, that's a tough act to follow all the way around. So I brought in the big guns and Herb for my inspiration this morning. So thank you all for being here. All right, Herbie. Herb's going to do what Herb does, which is just be the man. All right. So quarantine, we've all been out of work for a very long time, and I'm just so happy to be back in our little barbershop. Actually, this is our salon, Art and Science, in Evanston, Illinois. We've just celebrated our 30th anniversary last year, which is so very cool. What we did was we added about 5 years ago, we added these tiny little 2-chair barbershops inside of our salon. And I'll talk about them, and I'll talk about how what they've done for us and how they've grown our business in the men's world. But today, most importantly, I want to talk about a couple things that going back to work. Some people are going back to work. Some people in the state of Georgia went back to work last week. I think Texas is going back to work this week. We're very happy. And I know the boys at Shkorum are very happy and very excited to go back to work next week. Here in the state of Illinois, we probably have another month to go before we go back to work. So I have a feeling when that time does approach, we're going to end up with a lot of clients that look just a bit like that. Like I said, he's been big. I gave him his last haircut in February. He came home and I gave him a haircut, and then he came home from college. It's for spring break, and poor boy never went back. I mean, it's just, this whole thing is just so tragic. It's for so many levels. It's not just people in our industry, but I'm think about, I also have a high school senior, Alessandro, who's going to graduate high school and miss out on, arguably the best part of senior year. No prom, no graduation. Kids that are going to college, they're have left their friends, and it's just a tough time for everybody. So hang in there. What's the tag word? We're all get through this together. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the new things that we have to do, some of the new things that we have to think about when we're doing hair once we get back into the shop. One of the things that Art and Science that we're looking at is not shampooing our clients. All right, we're limited on space. We have 6 feet of social distancing that we have to keep to. So we're going to ask our clients to come in. Color clients, of course, are going to have to get shampooed. But guys barbers know this. Barbers haven't shampooed hair for a long time, but the hairdressing world out there, this is something new. We've been used to shampooing hair. So enter the blue man. Barbers have been using this. This is probably one of my go-to favorite products, at least initially. And what this will do, this doesn't have any holding power. This is meant to sort of break down the product, break down a little bit of the gunk that's in the hair so that you can actually work through the hair without shampooing it. So there's a couple different ways you can use this. If it has a lot of grease and a lot of buildup on the hair, it can be applied directly on the hair to kind of start to break that down. Or another way, which is the way I kind of like to use it, is to add it to the water bottle. And the smell aside, no,
It's good.
good. Yeah, see, he knows what to say. The smell aside, it does have a very valuable quality that I think we're going to have to utilize a lot moving forward. So a little bit of the blue hair tonic in the water bottle, just to kind of start to break that down. Like I said, we're not going to be able to sort of do business the way we're used to doing business. We're going to have to kind of change things up and be really creative. And, so if you're not going to be able to shampoo your clients, then blue tonic, either on the hair or on the water bottle or in the water bottle, is the first way to go. So get this massive, gorgeous head of hair thoroughly wet down. And, I have option. One of the things I'm so blessed there again to have, I've seen the guys over the, the course of the past month. Court started this off, it seemed like, 2 years ago when he did it from his garage in California on a mannequin. And, Cheeseburger was able to do his son and do a live model. A lot of them have been able to, have only been doing mannequins. And I'm here to tell you, I've been teaching a long time. Making a mannequin look good is no easy trick. And I just think everybody has just nailed it as far as doing such an amazing, beautiful job. But like I said, I'm pulling out my my ace in the hole with this beautiful head of hair. And Bertus has been an inspiration to us all. And whether it's hanging mannequins upside down or seeing his antics on stage, if you really listen to what he has to say, truly kind of break it down, it's pretty sheer brilliant. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and he has taught me so many things. And one of the things that we talk about a lot with REUZEL is that the perfect haircut is inside there. You just have to take away the hair that doesn't belong, right? And you can do with water, with product, anything you can do with water. So before I even start this haircut, I'm sort of moving and turning and combing this head of hair to see exactly what it's going to do for me. So I have an idea of how this haircut is going to look even before I start. And then you kind of have a better, clear roadmap. You're not just sort of taking hair off for the sake of taking it off. You actually have a vision before you start this haircut. Like I said, Santino has this gorgeous curly hair. It, I've cut his hair obviously before, so I know that it blow dries nicely. You can work with the curl and work with the texture, and just sort of start to comb and see how that's going to melt and sit away. Now I know sort of get rid of the rest. This part of it is looking really good and kind of what I wanted to sort of end up. This way it's kind of foolproof when you're thinking about that, right? It's foolproof because you can see, envision the haircut before you start. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to start off like we do with every REUZEL haircut, is with the baseline. And the baseline, and is the foundation of our haircuts. We say, it's not the only way to cut hair. It might not even be the best way to cut hair, but it's our way. And there again, Rob has, I'm not much for quotes. Rob had a great quote from Pippi Longstocking and said, I've never tried that before, so I think I should definitely be able to do that, right? It's such a great quote. So for those of you out there that have never done this before, cut this way, give it a try. If you've never done it, then you should absolutely be able to do that. I mean, when it comes to quotes, I usually quote Springsteen lyrics and Goodfellas. I mean, Santino and I can have an entire conversation in just Goodfella quotes. So I don't know, maybe it's a guy thing. I don't know. And without further ado, I have to also say that I couldn't do this without my third special guest, which is Patrick. Say hello, Patrick.
Hey, everybody.
Patty is manning the camera for me today, and oh, here, come over here real fast, Pat. I just want to kind of zoom in. If you haven't done it yet, go to barbicide.com, get certified, get your certificate. It takes 15 minutes online, and get certified. Display it in your shops, display it in your salons, and go through the specific protocols of sanitation. There again, these are all the things that barbers have been doing for a long time. We all went to school. We all know about sanitation, but moving forward when we open, it's going to be paramount to really work very sanitary. So barbicide.com, spray disinfectants, spraying your clippers, oiling them up between absolutely every client and every haircut. All right, here we go. So you find the baseline. It's the widest area of the head, right? You have two flat planes that you inverted 45 degrees. That's the widest area of the head. That's your baseline. We continue this all the way down through toward the opposite side. So we're kind of, and basically what this is, it looks like a curved line, but if you take a straight plane, which a comb is straight, and you sort of just follow it, it ends up being a straight line, but you're putting a straight line on a curved surface. And also what that does is by not kind of rounding up too much, this assures that you're going to leave and maintain enough weight through that crown. Hair could always come off later if you need to, but I like to leave hair while I can. All right, I'm gonna pull a Mr. Rogers right now. Well, don't step on Herb there, Patty. And kind of get down to business. All right. All right, Babyliss clipper. When you're working over the comb, I have this has the lever. You have the open and you have the close, right? When you're working over the comb, work with the lever on the close setting. Tension equals accuracy, all right? So the tighter this is, the more precision of the cut you're gonna get. Standard kind of wall clipper comb, working, and there again, body position. There's a couple things you wanna think about. There's chair position, head position, hand position, and body position. Right, when you're working below the round of the head, chair goes up. So you're kind of working from your sternum, kind of is in the middle of your section. Head position, I want to create a square shape, so I want his head to be perfectly up and square. Hand position, C shape with the comb. Comb works parallel to your section. And then I said body position, you're directly in front of your section. We're starting right above the mid-ear at the widest point. So right where the ear meets the head, this is the widest point of the head this way. I am going to start there. And then go forward. Being very careful, as you can see from the front, I'm not rounding in to follow the shape of the head. It's like looking down the barrel of a gun. You're kind of going straight out, so to maintain as much length and as much weight in this corner. We're going to need that length in that corner toward the end. So we're just kind of a very square, flat layer. Be careful not to round through the front, keeping it very, very straight. Now we're just going to follow this all the way around this baseline, having your guide always visible. There's my guide, my section. Comb working parallel to the section. All right. Done. Your baseline is put in, right? So now this is the foundation of your haircut. What's so brilliant about a baseline, I think, is that you are in complete control of your destiny, right? The most important part of a man's haircut, right, with the classic cuts anyway, is to have a very tall, lean shape. So we're putting in the squareness that happens here. What happens below the round of the head is completely up to you, right? We can do the same thing whether you're doing a long trim pomp and having the hair farther out to have fenders. You're going to do the same thing. I can actually skin fade below this. You can do kind of whatever happens below the round of the head does not disrupt the squareness of the shape that you put in. So, because, especially with new learners, people that have been doing hair for a long time in the industry, starting at the bottom, they have worked their eye and they've worked their knowledge through years of cutting hair to know exactly how to kind of work themselves out. That's brilliant. But a new learner to actually start here and kind of guess where they have to kind of come out, often will go too short and then back out too fast and then basically create a light bulb shape. So starting at a baseline actually really ensures that you're going to work flat. So the next layer, you're going to go just below that. Now you have the baseline at the top of your comb, so you still have your guide. It's very important to kind of work and have your guide always. And then down another layer. And just kind of clean up around the edges. Now, there's going to be a tremendous amount of detail and finish that I have to do. This is just what we call our initial sketch. We're kind of just roughing in the shape, roughing in the around the hairline, roughing in below the round of the head. There's times we've called this, the boring hair, and you have the boring hair and the cool hair. They call it the boring hair because it's pretty much always the same method. Basically, what you're doing is the same sort of steps. You're just taking it either shorter or longer, depending, right? So that's not necessarily so boring. We actually have a class called Clipper Carnage, and it's all about the bottom half of the head. It's all about clippers. It's all about how to sort of work doing different tapers, different fades. For a lot of hairdressers, myself included, when I went to school, I didn't use this tool. This was not something that was taught to me. Actually, in the 1,500 hours that I took in beauty school, back just after they invented electricity, we had 20, 25 hours of cutting men's hair, and it was not with this, believe me. And it was, if it wasn't square and didn't have a corner, it wasn't masculine, and then that was it. So I know that a lot of cosmetology schools are getting so much better with upping their men's game, but there's still a lot that just really, a lot of cosmetologists just don't feel comfortable with cutting men's hair this way. So this Clipper Carnage class we have, literally, like I said, we get mannequins, which means, you know, it takes away the fear. One of the things I think is fear for a lot of new learners, especially, is that there's a fear of taking it too short. So once you get over the fear of kind of going in and doing a skin fade and taking hair really incredibly tapered, then as you kind of move back out, it's much easier. So clipper carnage, look for that coming virtually to you. I mean, you know, I would say, you know, coming to a town near you, but maybe it's just coming virtually to a town near you for the time being. Man, I sure miss being out on the road. Oh my God, I miss my friends. I miss seeing, you know, I never thought I'd say I'd miss airports and miss, you know, Ubers.
For once, George, I can say I actually enjoy not being in an airport.
Really, Curtis?
Yeah, but I will be in an airport this afternoon, but it's been a minute, you know, like I enjoyed my little break because last year we went a lot last year, so it was good to take a break.
This is the longest stretch I have not been on an airplane in 30 years. Since starting my
Yeah.
career of teaching,
Yeah, I'd
I
say
have
the same.
not gone this long without being on an airplane. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of
I
crazy.
say the same. I'll be on one this afternoon at 5:30, so I'll let you know how that experience goes.
All right, well, you know, be safe, man. Although I tell you what, I think airports and airplanes are probably safer than going to the grocery store right now. I mean, you see what, you know, visions from O'Hare and different places, you know, they're empty. I got to go to Whole Foods. I get dodging and bobbing, weaving people all over the place, you know, and not everybody's wearing a mask. Wear your mask. Wear your mask. Wear your mask. So, all right, getting the sketch in. Sometimes I talk more than I cut. All right, so we're getting that in now for the other side. Man, this kid's got a head of hair. Okay, so I mentioned about you know, art and science having, you know, this barbershop, and you know, like I said, we celebrated 30 years last year. We opened up in October of 1989, to which most of my staff wasn't even born. My current staff wasn't even born in 1989, but about 5 years ago, we decided to put a little barbershop inside of each of our locations. We were primarily, you know, even though we cut men's hair, of course we did, you know, we were primarily a salon. And so we added, you know, I think almost every barbershop, or every salon, we're pretty big space-wise, but a couple hundred square feet, it really doesn't take a lot of real estate out of your business to create a little area. You know, we got a little, you know, custom-made counter, some subway tile, a couple barber chairs, and you're good to go. And of our barbers that we have, you know, we don't really have, I don't know, barbers. We have cosmetologists that specifically cut men's hair. We do a lot of, and you know, there's not a lot of shaving going on. So, you know, you don't, you know, in the state of Illinois, you need a barber license to put a straight razor on somebody. We have one barber in the company, and he doesn't get that many requests for it. So it's not like you're losing a lot of revenue. Right now, probably the biggest thing that our barbers do are beard trims. You know, it's not straight razor shaves. It's guys coming in with beard trims. So we have, you know, cosmetologists that are really into just cutting men's hair and sort of being male specific groomers. And again, starting in the middle of the ear and working until, now this is a shot I want to get. So this was my guide from before. I started over on this side, and now I have a guide in the back, and I have a guide in the front. Foolproof. Whammo. All right, we'll start again. And there will be a bit of a point, a bit of a V. That's fine. You know, like I said, I can sort of rectify that in the end. But what that does ensure is that I've maintained enough length. You know, don't want sort of that smacked in the back of the head flat look. By kind of following the natural curve of the head and maintaining this length, this will ensure that I have a good head shape as I go around. I don't know if my good friend Kurt Kiefner is watching, but anchor point for stability, Kurt. You know, it's one of those things that after 30 years of doing what of doing, I've learned so many things from so many people, and I've had so many, you know, wonderful, you know, mentors along the way. And you know, that's, to me, that's what teaching is really all about. I mean, there again, I said I'm not into quotes that much, but you know, this is one that I really like. I kind of saw this the other day. I was actually watching a TV show on Netflix, of all things, right? And the quote that struck me was, you know, a society grows great when old men grow trees, the shade they will never sit in. I mean, that just struck me so well. I mean, and that, to me, that's kind of what teaching is, right? We are teaching people, and you know, we may never benefit from the success that they have, other than just having the satisfaction of passing along our knowledge, right? And I think that's sort of a metaphor for everything that's kind of going on, whether it's in, you know, with teaching hair or just kind of in the world. I mean, just kind of let that set in. A society grows great when old men, I kind of like that because it was old men, that's me, right? When they grow trees that they know the shade they will never sit in. So thank you, Kurt. Not saying, yeah, he's old though, so that's fine. But, you know, I said I've had wonderful mentors, from Kurt to, you know, two, you know, wonderful business partners, the REUZEL man himself, Lawrence Haggerty. Now here's a chap, right? Lawrence has been doing hair, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 years by now. And God bless him, he went back to school, and he went back to the old school. And Lawrence was one of the most brilliant British hairdressers I've ever seen. He used those tiny little scissors, never used a clipper in his life. Was one of the best. I have clients of mine still that say the highlights that Lawrence gave them 30 years ago were the best highlights they've ever had. Goes back to school to work at Shoreham to learn how to use a clipper, to learn how to use a flat top. I mean, he's one of the most inspirational human beings I know. Not to mention just a good friend and a great guy, and a great laugh. I mean, you have, you ever sat around and have a vodka and tonic with Lawrence? It's because that is his drink of choice, right, Pat?
He does love those margaritas at Big Star.
Oh, margarita's a big star too, but you know, Lawrence,
Yeah,
Lawrence,
margaritas.
what are you having? Lawrence, what are you having for drink? Vodka tonic. Vodka tonic.
Lawrence chimed in and said 42 years.
42 years he's been doing hair?
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him. So, and then, you know, last and not least, you know, one of my, you know, it would be remiss if I didn't say that one of my great influences and great mentors in my life was, you know, my good friend David Raculia. David, you know, started art and science. David and Lawrence started art and science 30 years ago. David started American Crew 25 years ago. He gave me my my shot. He's the one that said, I remember we were going to do a class. PSC was our first distributor back in the day, and David looked at me and he said, "You better learn how to make those clippers sing." Or I can quote him because that's exactly what he said. And sure enough, we did. We rocked the world. I have to say, rocked the world and rocked the industry, and kind of paved the way for everything that we're doing now. So, David, if you're out there listening, love you, man. I think you owe me money. Call me. So, all right. Moving up into the interior. So we have the bottom half, like I said, sketched in. There's still detail, there's still there's refining, there's defining, everything that kind of has to be done to the bottom. But for now, and you know, again, I'm in a barbershop. I have one of the pleasures of looking at a mirror, kind of looking in a three-dimensional, looking at it from a distance, which is all very important. All right, moving up into the interior. Crucial parting, following the hairline, kind of following this up. We're going to create a couple different triangles. Like I said, the bottom half of the hair down here we call the boring hair, right? Because that's just, the technique is always the same. We're just either taking it long or taking it short. What happens on top now, this is the cool hair. This is the stuff that, you know, whether we do pompadours, whether we do psycho quiffs, flat tops, I mean, this is where all the sort of the magic happens. But again, you have to have a road plan, road map, roadblock, what the fuck. All right, follow that triangle. And we're going to work with 3 triangles, actually. So this is the coolest hair on his head. And we're going to make sure that we keep that till the very, very, very end. Here's our triangle here. Make that a little bit wider. All right, then we go, take our comb and go right across the top. And we separate the crown. And I'll tell you what, as I'm doing this, I'm just thinking about everybody that did this on a mannequin. You guys are amazing, because parting off human hair is one thing. Parting off a mannequin head, that's something else. So like I said, I'm just so wildly impressed with everything that I've seen and looking forward to everything that's coming in the future. But all right, so you can see, put your head down now, right? So we have triangle, the sides, and then the crown. It's sort of our parting as we transition into the top. All right, head up once again. Head position is very important. Now we're using that baseline that I put in originally. We're using that baseline as our guide moving up into the interior. So I'm going to follow parting pattern identical to what was before, combing from the underneath. There again, you know, one of the things I ask my clients, or actually my clients, I ask my students when I'm teaching, what do we do for a living? They go, oh, we cut hair, we cut hair, we cut hair. Nah, no, we don't. We comb hair. Think about it, right? Anybody could cut hair. The act of, you know, and we've seen it, right? Especially right now with everybody anybody can cut hair, and we're seeing tutorials online and people cutting their own hair because they're out of desperation in quarantine. But what we do is we comb hair. How we comb hair in relation to the head. Seeing clients online picking hair up and cutting it and chipping it and notching it and doing whatever, they're going to get what they get, right? Hair removal. What we do is we create shape. And how you create shape is by combing the hair in relation to the head, how you want it. So combing from the underneath, making sure your baseline is coming out at 90 degrees and everything is coming down to your baseline. Kind of slide down, find your guide. Find your guide. What's up, Herb? We don't have one at Art and Science, but I think it might not be a bad idea. I think everybody should have a salon dog or a shop dog. I mean, they're just the best. But I don't think, I know there's no way to get another Herb. I mean, they broke the mold. They broke the mold with that one. So, all right, pulling everything over until you've run out of hair. All right. Now, again, taking this as a horizontal section. Now, here's where things get a bit interesting, right? So I have my guide under here that I've created with my baseline. As I'm moving up in the interior, you can see I'm getting right into, you know, God love him. He's 20 years old. He's got the, the thickest hairline and everything is good. His dear old dad, doesn't have that anymore. So we have to overcompensate at times. So if your guide is underneath, you're going to join it at the back at the crown, and then you can just move your fingers out slightly to add a bit of a disconnect and increase in length. All right, I'll do that again. We run out of hair here. So still coming out at 90 degrees, you're just going to over direct slightly toward the front to have a slight increase. So that way you're maintaining, muy importante for all of my friends from Mexico that are watching, muy importante that you maintain enough length through here. Now here's the thing, right? Once we blow the hair dry and start to kind of do the finish, you can take weight out, right? You can take the weight out if it feels a little bit lumpy through there. That's fine. But making sure you keep that initially is crucial. All right. I'm going to leave that till later. Get to do the same on this side. So nice clean parting. Going to join until we run out of hair. Do the top. Okay, there's my guide underneath. That's where I'm going to join. And there again, now I'm going to slide out a little bit to maintain length toward the front. Okay. All right, now we're going to join the front. Again, I like to take sections that sort of run parallel to the hairline. Again, there's my guide from the back. Not much is coming off this front. I know Santino's going to make me like cut his hair again because he's like, oh, I left the hair too long, but too bad. For demonstration purposes, he is, you are my Dick Johnson right now. He has no idea who that is or what that means, but for right now, you are my Dick Johnson. All right, so same on the other side. There's my guide. I'm just going to extend all the way through the front. Okay. Pull that over until everything reaches. Okay. All right. And last but not least, doing the interior. There again, we talked about, classic shapes and masculine shapes, very square through the sides. You can see how we've maintained this length and the weight through the crown so you don't have a flatness in the crown. And there again, with classic shapes that you'll sort of look at, it's taller in the front and smaller in the crown, right? You have that sort of shape that's kind of going down. That's exactly what we're going to do here. So I want the front of his hair to be the longest, which is right there. So this is going. I pull everything up to the center. I sort of do a conversion. Pulling everything up, being careful not to round that off, not to sort of take too much of that crown off as well. This is kind of coming straight up off the head. And by working this with the conversion, what this does for you, if you look at it from the front, you're pulling these hairs from the side into the middle. You're cutting into that shape, but you're not disrupting the corners that you've put on the sides. There again, you can kind of do this. We kind of get in a habit of cutting on top of the head and rounding, right? One of the things of cutting masculine shapes is keeping as square as possible. So working below, from palm to palm, below the round of the head, working square square layers up on the top, and being cautious of not rounding that shape off. So pulling everything toward the center ensures that you keep those corners. All right, we're gonna do the blow dry. I have a little bit of the liquid gold, everybody's favorite product ever, the grooming tonic. Comes in 2 flavors. There's the traditional and the spray. The spray is not as much hold, only because of coming out of the sprayer, but it's the same product, does the same thing. It's great for heat and blow drying. Because I still cut a lot of women's hair in the salon, that's a great blow dry product for any length of hair. And now, because he has so much hair, and for a little bit of an extra added boost, I'm going to add a little bit of the surf tonic. All right. So the surf tonic could be done if I wanted to just air dry, right? I mean, you think about, it takes a blow dryer to do a great haircut. A great haircut doesn't need a blow dryer. We've heard that a zillion times, and never a truer statement has been said. But the reality of our clients going home and blow drying their hair every day, we don't expect that. So getting that haircut in, but the surf tonic on his hair will just separate those curls, comb them into place, and we got Superman. We're good to go. But I am going to blow his hair dry a little bit just so I can finish the cut. The vent brush. Working in stages. We're starting from short to long. Just sort of how you cut the hair is how you blow dry the hair. You're working from short to long, starting in the back and the crown. You're not looking for volume. You're not looking for volume, especially, Herbie, he doesn't like the blow dryer. And especially in the crown. And the vent brush just makes this process super fast, super easy. What's going on, Herb? Again, taking the concentrator and actually flattening out the crown. Not lifting at the crown, but actually you want root dryness, but you don't want lift. The only spot you really want lift is through the front. Come on, Herb, it's okay. Oh. Now his hair is, Santino's hair is so, has such an amazing texture that I want to really work with that texture. I'm kind of blowing some of the curl out so that I can see the shape and finish off with my blenders to kind of take off any more weight that needs to be removed. But the finish of his hair is going to be anything but smooth.
Looking mighty fine there, Mr. George.
Thank you, Curtis. You know, Burtis, when he was doing his haircut the other day on his quiff, you know, he was like, you know, we did cycle quiffs, so we did mohawks upside down. I mean, we let gravity do the work for you. When it comes to the front, if you have enough length, have their head go forward, right? Because what you don't want to have is from a profile, that shape. From a profile, you want that shape, right? So if it helps to kind of even keep that in your mind, having this head forward to let gravity do its thing. So when he puts his head up, you get that nice shape, all right? Once again, thank you, Rob, for that wonderful inspiration. Okay, with the hair being dry, now we're to the blenders. Not thinning shears, not texturizing shears, blending shears, because that's exactly what we're doing with this haircut. We're kind of going through it now. How I like to do it is go back through the exact same steps. I started on the right-hand side at the baseline. I start back with my blenders on the right-hand side at the baseline, and to see if there's any weight that needs to be removed as we go. And it's just softens the ends of the hair. It makes the hair blend in much better. You kind of get away from those really hard jagged lines. If you see a little bit of extra weight, but you don't want to remove length, you know, slide cutting through. Just there again to kind of create some movement, remove some weight, and just blend that right in. And if you stay methodical, you know, there again, it's not jumping around and bouncing around a cut, not knowing exactly where you're going. If you stay very methodical with the process, start on the right side, baseline, work down, move over to the left side, work toward the back, work down. And then the last thing you do is the top, because that's the last part that we cut. So there again, from a profile, having the shape of the comb in the angle of what you want the line to be. There again, being very careful that you're not rounding off the shape that you cut. I mean, you know, they're serrated edges, but if you cut in the same place enough time, all the hair goes away. So you're just there to see a bit of weight, remove the weight, maintain the shape. Now, product choices are aplenty. With this type of hair, you know, you can do anything you want. And that's sort of the, you know, the beauty of REUZEL as well is that it's a process of elimination. We have something for everybody. You know, we have, you know, from greases, light hold to heavy hold, to, you know, water-based, light and heavy, and then our hybrid products. I haven't found a human being that this product doesn't work on. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. To gels, creams, you know, like I said, it's a process of elimination. You're talking about, you know, do you want high hold, no hold? Do you want, you know, high shine? Do you want matte finish? You know, it's during the consultation that it kind of brings this all out. So many stylists like, you know, I'm not a salesman. I don't want to sell. You talk about product use in the consultation, and then when you circle back around toward the end, you're just sort of revisiting a conversation you already had. So it's not about selling, it's about making, have them the ability to kind of recreate this style at home. And men are incredibly loyal to products. So once you kind of create a prescription, they're going to buy it. They're going to come back when the damn can is completely empty and buy another one. So, Santino? Pink?
Sure.
Sure. Before I do that, how are we doing on time? 53 minutes. Gotta love that. Is there any questions out there? Anybody? Questions, comments, smart remarks? Brooklyn. If there's a smart remark, it's coming from him. All right, so just kind of going around the edges. So when you have a head of hair like he has, it's I like to, contrary to what he likes, but I like to keep as much hair as possible because he's so beautiful. So just kind of cleaning up around the edges. So just that detail and finish work. And what's nice about this sort of process is you get the sketch done, you transition to the top, you cut the top, you blow dry, and now you're kind of going in. It's not sort of whittling away, staying in one spot, and then once you kind of look at your clock or your next patron walks in, you're like, oh man, I got to hurry up. I still have so much of the haircut left to do. Doing it, very methodically and staying in the steps makes you a much more efficient barber and hair cutter. Very natural neckline. No blocky. And we're going to see a lot of that when we come back too, right? I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of wives and girlfriends and daughters giving their, the men in their life haircuts, and they're going to take trimmers and stamp in around the hairline and cut it. We're going to have to take a lot of blocked off necklines away come later when the shops open. So, all right. You know what that is? What? So working from the back to the front, getting some of that excess off your hands into this hair. He doesn't need it that much, but if you really want this top to stand up, if somebody has finer hair, you can really go in and massage that, almost kind of create like a little bit of a backcombing type thing, if you will, into the hair. And finally, Herb's all settled down, isn't it? All right.
I actually think last time, because the blow jar came on, we gave him like 2 minutes of fame back then. I thought he was getting his 2 minutes of fame again.
Well, of course. Well, Herb deserves way more than 2 minutes.
Right.
He just had his 10th birthday. He's had 10 years of fame.
Turn said he likes the boss. Herb actually assumed it was
All right, just gonna actually this pick is to be used. Actually, I'm doing it to distribute the product as much as anything. I'm really, like I said, this is not on this particular haircut for me with Santino. This is not going to be smooth sort of cut like this, I'm going to really encourage the texture. But what the pick does is it allows the product to be evenly distributed from scalp to ends. Herb. Now you're like my friend right there. And the pink is thick enough that, you want to go in, pick, wide teeth, fine teeth. If you're kind of going right in with your fine teeth, you're going to, yank it, pull it, and actually remove some hair, I imagine. So Santino's also
kind of like when you're doing a haircut. Kind of do bulk reduction first, and you kind of just go down into detail.
Exactly right. Yeah, you're kind of using the different teeth as you would in a comb. Thank you, Patty. Exactly right. Now, because I like a little bit more shine over the top, especially with pink, over the top, it can get a little bit sticky, right? So over the top of that, Herb, over the top. You don't want me to use grooming cream? Grooming tonic? Grooming tonic? I'm just going to add a little bit of the grooming tonic just to add a little bit of shine, give it a little bit of some highlights, and really accentuate that texture. The pink is great because it's going to give him all the hold that he needs on this long hair, and the grooming tonic will give him just the shine that he needs. Just like back at work, I can't find my tools. Spread out everywhere. Smile, will you?
There's no manual for this.
There's no manual for this. There's no manual for life. I mean, like I said, the poor kid, I'm happy to have him home. He's not happy to be home. That's all right. I don't take it that personally, but at least he's happy to get a haircut. And there you have Santino. I'm going to keep this on because you got a ugly t-shirt on. Yeah. Sorry, Herb. Herb, you got to move. Let's climb it up. You know what they say in acting? You should never work with children and animals. Well, now I know why. They steal the show. They steal the show.
Very nice, George. Very nice.
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, everybody. And we are kind of right on
You're
schedule.
right on the money,
right
buddy.
On schedule. So to wrap up, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Curtis very much for putting this on and doing this. He works tirelessly behind the scenes, making sure that we look good. Thank you again, Patrick, for filming, for Herb, for showing up, stealing the show.
As
Santino,
always.
Thank you for the cut.
Thank you for being here.
Looks
And,
mighty fine, mighty fine.
And the last thing I want to say is it's Mother's Day weekend. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, East Coast, West Coast, and to my mom. And as a surprise, Mom, I'm coming to see you. So happy Mother's Day. Love you all. See you soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. And I have one announcement and one announcement for Monday. So my announcement for right now is our giveaway announcement will be at 12 p.m. tomorrow on our REUZEL Education on Instagram. Tune in. It's really, really big. Then Monday, May 11th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in for Miss Emily Clark from New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again. It's Friday, TGIF. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you again on Monday.